Welcome to Buy and Flip TV. I'm your host, Mr. Singh, and in this installment, we're going to be making some cookies. So, all of this ingredients will end up in this bowl. Now, I'm going to do this all in one shot without taking a pause on the camera, and I'm going to be doing this one-handed. But before we get to that part, that talent portion of this episode, I'm going to show you what we're using in terms of the cookies, in terms of what ingredients you need. So obviously I've been focusing on this flour. This flour is obviously very important because without it, there wouldn't be much cookies in the mix here. So it's primarily an oat flour based recipe. 2 1/4 cup of that is what you'll need. All right, you could put in I don't know, almond flour, regular flour. I like the way this tastes, so that's what I'm gonna use. All right. I'm going to use a little bit of sugar. This is something in there, so you can probably remove that. That's like 1/4 cup. If not, it looks a little less, because I like to use more chocolate chips than I do actual sugar, but you could put more. I mean, the recipe itself calls for like 1/2 cup of sugar, which to me is a lot of sugar, so I'm not too heavy on just raw sugar in my food. Also, we're going to put a banana in there, half a banana, so that'll sweeten it up anyways. Along with that, we have 1 teaspoon of vanilla. This is straight from Madagascar. It arrived this morning. I bet you it's probably made in somewhere else, even though it's called Madagascar. Anyways, one teaspoon of that. 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Only the purest and the best for all of us here at the kitchen. And normally I'm fixing car stuff, but today I'm the mechanic in the kitchen. Call it a chef, shall we? And also, the secret ingredient to this, which recipe that I sort of ripped off of the internet, I think it was Yammy's or somebody like that made it originally, but the secret ingredient is actually salt. This is pink Himalayan salt, so you can put that in there, okay? You don't have to, but I'm telling you, it kicks it up a notch. We're also going to put some ground almonds. I've ground those up already. The texture is great if you don't pulverize it too much to make it into a powder, because then it's not as crunchy, unless that's how you want it. But then they become very dry. And these dark chocolate chip chips. So first thing you want to do is preheat your oven, always to 350 degrees. All right. The second step is to put your butter. I forgot to mention, you got to put some butter in there. So the butter, it's like 1 stick of butter. I'm using this. For me, I use probably like a 1/4 of this. In terms of, not 1/4 of this, like if you look at like if that was the amount, like 1/4, like that much. That explains it very accurately, I'm sure. Anyways, so you put this butter, I melt a little bit in the microwave because it seems to blend a little bit better, and you add your sugar. Okay? And then you gotta mix this. Okay, you gotta whip it. Okay, I think that was what I was supposed to do. Yeah, mix together the butter and the sugar. Okay, there's not that much sugar, so it's not really gonna be very lumpy. If you don't melt this first, then it becomes very lumpy, and you'll be sitting here kind of, doing this all day. So you want it to make a little bit crumbly. And the next thing you want to do is to put in your banana, or 1/2 a banana. So I'm gonna do that. You could also put an egg in here, but we're going eggless for this particular recipe. So give me 1 second while I peel this banana and put it in, because clearly I didn't prepare that part of it. 1 second. You could take a look at this. This we'll put it over here so you can see what's going on. Alrighty then. Since I'm gonna mix this while I don't have the thing in my hands, but you can hear my beautiful voice while I'm mixing. I am gonna throw in a little bit of milk, just to give it a little bit of what's it called? The wetness, let's call it. They don't want to call it wetness. And it starts to look like this. Okay, and again, we're a mechanic in the auto body area, but we're also a mechanic in the kitchen. Let us not be fooled. All right, so I'm literally reading this. I've made this thing so many times, but I'm literally reading this off of here. So, so vanilla needs to go in next. So I'm gonna use the vanilla. Again, it's from Madagascar. I don't know why they call it that. It's just not from Madagascar. All right, hold on one second. Nobody's gonna watch this video because of the way I'm shooting it. But I don't really care. So these Christmas cookies are worth the view. So this is the best part of it. All right, it looks like some scissor, or it looks like some cough syrup. Could be maple syrup, but it's Madagascar. I keep calling it Madagascar. It's vanilla extract. Okay, make sure we close the top because I don't want that going everywhere. And then you mix that up. I keep pressing the other. I got my other phone to see what the recipe looks like here. All right. So that's literally it for this. For this part. Now the thing what I like to do is I like to use two bowls. So one's a wet bowl, as if I've invented this method. One's a wet bowl, one's a dry bowl. So you'll see why, because you can't just mix everything in here. So you gotta mix your wet ingredients first, so which I like to use a fork. And we're gonna put that fork to the side for the moment. And then your dry ingredients. So this is 2 1/4 cup of oat flour, okay? And then also we're gonna add to that in this, I'm gonna use this one to mix it in since it's already in there. We're gonna use the baking soda, which, what did I say? Half a teaspoon? Half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon baking soda. And it's probably a good idea to sort of make sure this isn't too damp. So I'm gonna take it, I blended this so it's powdery. All right. I don't want any big chunks, otherwise it doesn't mix well, you know. Half a teaspoon looks more or less like this. Hang on. Okay, for me anyways, I put a little bit more. Okay. And baking soda, if you'll excuse me while I do this. Half a teaspoon of baking soda. Without baking soda, obviously this is not gonna rise. Okay. What else? Is there anything else? Salt, flour, baking soda. It's very simple. And maybe you want to mix that. Very important to get it nice and evenly mixed because you don't want all the salt staying in one place. You don't want all the baking soda staying in one place. So, you know what? I like to get the double hand action while I'm doing this, so I turn it while I'm mixing it. Okay. And then what? Let's mix it a little bit more. Okay. Feels like I'm forgetting something, but looking around, it doesn't look like I've missed anything. I am throwing this flour everywhere, so I should probably stop. Okay, so next step is, what do you think if you were to guess the next step? I believe you'd probably want to mix this into here. Okay, so you mix your wet with your dry. I do find that using the dry bowl into the wet allows you to ensure you don't leave a bunch of this wet in here, putting it into there, if that made any sense. And it probably didn't make any sense whatsoever. But I'm going to continue mixing this, okay? And it looks like it's going to be quite delicioso, because I can tell right away. I can tell when the mixture is either too dry at this point. But I just want to reiterate that point. I mixed the dry into the wet rather than the wet into the dry, because when you do the wet into the dry, you end up leaving behind butter and all the wet ingredients. So then you're not actually, it won't mix properly. You're leaving some of the ingredients behind essentially, so you'll be off with your mixture. So I'm just gonna, I usually try to, man, I should really have done that before. But anyways, this is what it looks like. I clearly wasn't looking into the phone. And clearly I'm a novice at this whole YouTube thing, but you know, it's how we do. So if I can do it, you could do it. Okay? Now it looks a little dry. It looks like, you know, something they show you on TV that doesn't look good. but I promise you it will look great, okay? The reason why it looks like this is because I haven't used my hands to mash it all together. But I'm gonna add the walnuts in at this point, okay? And I'm also, actually I'll add the chocolate chips in after. So I'm gonna use my hands, they are washed. I'm gonna go wash them again just because I'm paranoid. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm gonna mix this with my hands, and I'm gonna try not to spend too much time doing this so you're not staring at a black screen. I don't think anyone's gonna watch this video, but let's see. You can sing a song while you're doing this. You can, I don't know, you can do a lot of stuff while you're doing this. But what you must do is you gotta put that elbow grease in. Okay? Okay. All right. So at this point, what you're left with, and I'm gonna use the tissue to hold my phone because I just washed my hands. You're left with this kind of dough. It is fantastic, but I wouldn't eat it right now if I was you. What I do at this point is something that is very scientifically measured out. I add the chocolate chips such as this, okay? For me, the recipe calls for like, I think it's like half a cup of chocolate chips, but that's a lot of chocolate chips. So what I do is I gauge it, you know, as I'm going. You don't want a billion chocolate chips in this thing, but you also don't want it to be, you know, not sweet enough. So anyways, that was all that was in the pack, so I guess we're limited at this point. Man, I eat these things raw, just, you know, not raw, but I just eat chocolate chips on their own, you know. Fat Albert. I don't actually know if he did that. Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll these out into the cookie sheet. I have pre-buttered with the same Earth Balance butter this cookie sheet with some foil on it. Okay, again, mechanic in the kitchen. So if you can do it, if I can do it, you can do it. If you can do it, we should all be able to do it. So let's do this. I don't know how you're gonna see this, if it's gonna video properly, but this is as good as I can do. Okay, so key here is squeeze. You know, you gotta let the tension out. You gotta let the tension out, okay? You got these balls now. Yeah, I said balls. I said balls, I'm gonna say it again, balls. You got balls now, okay? And just like a mama used to do, you do it like this, and then you just, that's a good size right there. I'm gonna try to make them all the same size. I don't know if that's actually gonna happen. The more butter or the more liquid you use, the more, I would say, malleable this would be. Is that the right word, malleable? But, you know, this is actually just about right. They might crack a little bit in the, there's another one. It's pretty good. Look at the two sides. You know, not bad. I don't know how much we'll get out of this mix. Should be roughly under a dozen, but, you know, just depends on how big you make these. Squeeze, remember? You want to get that nice and tight. Okay? This one's going to be a little bit bigger because I can feel it. That's not bad. Another one. I flatten it out a little bit. Squeeze. I'm going to try to edit this video so that you don't have to watch me do this for like 20 minutes of just squeezing and putting this out. But that's what it looks like. I like to market this as Christmas cookies so that, you know, the audience who is interested in knowing how to make Christmas cookies would be clicking on this, even though it has nothing to do with Christmas. These could also be Hanukkah cookies. They could be Kwanzaa cookies. They could be Ramadan cookies. They could be all kinds of cookies. I think for Ramadan, you can't really eat until the sunset or whatever, so you could eat these at that point. Okay? So we're at 5, 5 cookies, 6 cookies. Squeezing, squeeze. If you don't squeeze, they will break apart. Push it down like a pneumatic press. Boom. Other one. Do I, this is the part I'll have to edit out. Do I go crazy? I'm gonna put all the chocolate chips in this one. Squeeze. Another one. So we're probably gonna have, like I said, just under a dozen. This last one's gonna have a boatload of chocolate chips in it. Because I'm an expert and I left all the chocolate chips at the end there. You can see at the bottom. But you know what? That's life. Sometimes you bite into the cookie, it's got all the chocolate chips. Sometimes you bite into the cookie, it's got nothing in it. So let that be a lesson to you children who are out there. Try not to give up on your dreams, although your dreams will alterly change. And I said alterly change, but your dreams will change and alter as you get crushed in the world like this cookie. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. All right, almost done. And I'm gonna show you how these will look afterwards. These cookies come out very kind of uncooked looking. That's the best way I can put it. Because when I first made this, I was like, I ain't eating that, because they're all like white, you know. I wanted you want it to look brown the way this is, and it wasn't. So use a little bit of butter on my hands for this last one. So yeah, don't be discouraged if you see that it does come out quite white. This last one is pure chocolate chips. You gotta use all the ingredients, you know? Alright. It's a small one, but it's packed full of chocolate chips and butter. I added a little bit of butter at the end there. So whoever gets this one is gonna have to make sure they do a run afterwards. Okay, see? So, just gonna wipe up me hands. So we got, how many do we have? We have 4, 8, 9, 10. So just under a dozen, like we said. Depends on how much product you use. But I'm gonna put this now in the oven, okay? The preheated oven, because there are 2 states an oven can be, heated or unheated. I don't know what the hell preheated is. But why would they just say heat the oven to 350? Alright, I'm gonna clean this mess up and then I'm gonna show you the product. Good point to set the timer for 10 minutes as I put fingerprints all over this oven. It's 10 minutes. I usually let it go for 10 and then shut it off and let it sit there for another 2, 3, 5 minutes. And then nothing really happens, but in terms of that 5 minutes, I just, for my own peace of mind, thinking I'm eating raw cookie dough alleviates that fear. So that's that. I'm going to show you the finished product shortly once it's done in 10 minutes.